And good evening and welcome to City Focus. I'm Marty Olsen, your host, and tonight I'm glad to welcome back my friend and yours, Mr. New London, Mike McLaughlin.
You know something, Marty? It's a pleasure to be here. And I'll tell you what, I have never been so dwarfed in the dress code by that perfect sweater that you have. So you must be running for something, okay? So we'll get to that a little bit.
This is one of my favorite sweaters. It's got
was
a blend of colors I can wear with almost anything.
Yes, we need a little green and gold, but other than that, it'd be good. But I mean,
I got my whaler hat over there, but I
yes,
don't
you
generally
do,
wear my hat on the set.
That's true. But you know, this could be very interesting. I've watched the shows. One of the names of people that I'm very interested in is one Tony D, who runs a restaurant. He's a super guy. And Tony D, the guy you have on all the time, who was a political expert. And although I know the other Tony D might be too, because I know he knows all kinds of congressmen and people out of Providence and stuff, so who knows. But it's neat to see these. And what I like the best about your show is you show all those old ancient things in London that come on. And,
that was a good job by Drew, who he put that together for me, and he did a real nice job, I'll tell you.
Well, he does a nice job on everything. But tonight, I feel like we need some telephone calls. So here's the thing. We have four or five questions tonight. Number one, who is the best football player ever at New London? Number two, who is the best basketball player ever at New London? Number three, who was the best baseball player at New London? Who is the best female athlete at New London? And who was or is the best coach?
Well, those are all good questions. I think that it's going to be hard to pinpoint that. But I think a good segue into get the minds whirring is that last evening I was up at the Conway Gym at the high school to see the Whalers host the academics of Hill House High School from New Haven. And the Whalers played a hell of a game. I mean, they had a 5 or 6 point lead after the first quarter, and they maintained that up to halftime. And coming out of the half, Hill House took control of the game, and they built up a double-digit lead, and it looked like they had things under control. And the Whalers came storming back with a furious comeback in the last few minutes, and managed to nip them by a point, 75-74. It was really an exciting conclusion.
Yeah, it's like New London basketball is, I give them credit. They play anybody. They played Hill House, you said Wilbur-Cross. They play Bishop Hendrick, and they play all of these teams all over, get in these tournaments, and they play anybody, okay? They don't have 6'8" John Delagrange. They just have, or Matt Rollins, who was a great, you know what I mean? But they play hard. They have good forwards. They got young men who can handle the ball, and it's a good thing. And one of their players who plays substantially is not playing for Fitch, Mr. Gaskins, okay, who is doing very well there, and he would have done very well in the football, but some things happened, and then he got hurt. But he's playing, and Fitch, I think, if you were to say, who's, even though we're on the New London side of this building, okay, Fitch has got probably the best team in this area.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, the pace of last night's game just was pell-mell. It was just a full tilt sprint. It was just, it was really something. And initially in the first quarter, neither team really had anybody who was putting the ball in the basket. Huh? It was a slow start, but once they warmed up,
it was, you know. Well, see, what happens when you play in New London? It's a tough place to shoot in with the background anyhow. So you got to pick that up. Usually the better players pick it up when they see they start to do this. And it takes them a little bit of a quarter, because most of the time when a good team would come in, and when our dear friend Ralph Agerio was the coach, he took advantage of that, no matter who he played, that he was ahead at the end of the first period, because he knew the shooting situations and things like that. And that's what New London does. And Davey Cornish spent a lot of time with Ralph as a coach, and Danny Spellman's a good coach. They got any other men there too are also very good coaches. So they have some players. It's a situation where New London, I don't care what happens to them in football. I don't care if they're state champions in baseball or not. I just know that they're going to be good in basketball every year. Because the kids play basketball. All you got to do is drive by James Johnson basketball court, and you'll see it down there at Toby May Field.
Well,
Did you ever play basketball?
Well, you know what? I tried out for basketball in 8th grade at Buckley School.
Mm-hmm.
That was our junior high at the time.
Yes, it was. Bill Noonan.
And at that time, it's hard to believe now, but I was the second tallest kid in our class. Dane Sebastian was the biggest kid.
Yes, he was.
And I was number 2. And I actually made our basketball team.
At Buckley.
At Buckley as an 8th grader. But I ended up withdrawing from the squad because I also was a competitive swimmer.
Okay, yes.
And I generally don't like to blow my own horn, but I mean, I was a very, very good swimmer. I mean, at the age of 12, I was a state champion at the YMCA leagues and AAU in Connecticut. And I had a choice. Do I want to play basketball where I'm not sure where I'll go, or do I swim where I know I'm good?
Yeah.
And I ended up, because they were competing at the same time in the wintertime.
Yeah. Well, it is. That's the thing, because a lot of now they have fencing too. But out to my big story at Buckley was Bill Noonan was our PE coach, PE teacher, excuse me, and I won the 8th grade foul shooting contest, and former Cleveland Brown and NFL star who was athletic director of the Coast Guard, Otto Graham, came down and gave me the award. After that, after I broke my leg in 5 places, it wasn't the same. Not that I couldn't shoot foul shots, but I had to run up and down the court to do it. I couldn't do it. But, and that used to be the thing, because we all were involved, okay? Everybody was involved. Everybody's doing. The New London Little Leagues were fabulous, okay? The Babe Ruth League was like unbelievable.
Well,
who played
I don't know when things fell off, because they've fallen off basically off the cliff, baseball. But as a youth, and this is going back 60 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, New London had 2 leagues at the Mitchell Woods and Bates Woods. Each league had, I believe, 7 or 8 teams.
Easily.
And each squad was capped at 15.
Yeah.
And then each league had minor leagues.
Sure.
So you had all kinds of kids playing baseball.
And besides that, not for kids, but for adults, at Corkins Park, we had all kinds of softball leagues, recreational. Like the Spanish-speaking people would take all 3 fields at Corkins on Sundays and play. And, because I remember when the guy that brought Mickey the monkey up to Bates Woods, I can't remember. Herb Moran. He had me, look, kid, you keep score here, you do this, you do that. That's what the first job I ever had.
You lived in that neighborhood. You grew up down there in Robinson Street.
Yes, I did. You could walk there. And he said, kid, you do all these things. And he was an unbelievable guy. Herb Moran, Joe Pasquich, I remember when they, not that there's anything wrong with the athletic director now or Tommy Major, but I just say one thing, and I'll take all the heat for this because he deserves it. When are they going to name the recreation building after Tommy Major? What did he have to do more than work as the athletic director, be a great football player who would have been in the pros if he didn't wreck his knee in college, play for New London, play baseball for New London, be a pillar of this society, and anybody who gives me an excuse that they can't name that recreation building after him is just telling me a fib.
I think Pastor wants it named after him.
Well, as a mayor, who can say, because he's only had 2 mayors. Well, you were a mayor once, but you didn't get elected. You got appointed, I think, right?
I was elected by the council.
Okay, but still, I mean, what Major did for this area, and the way he did it, and the class on which he carries himself is amazing.
Well, when Tommy was rec director,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was, first of all, he worked 7 days a week.
Surely.
And he would be the first one up and get the facilities opened.
Yeah.
And he'd be the last one in to lock them up, turn the lights off.
Yeah, because when we would have basketball tournaments at James Johnson's court at Toby Mayfield, he'd always turn the lights off at night. He'd come up from his house, or he'd put them on first, come up and fight, wherever you needed him. And he was a pleasant man, and he still is a pleasant man. And I first met him when I lived on Robinson Street, as you alluded to. He was my paper boy. Yeah, and
When we had paper boys.
yeah, but he was an outstanding person, and you won't meet a nicer, you won't meet a person who cares more about New London, okay, than he does, okay? And this show was not here to promote him for that, because we shouldn't even have to have a show to promote that. It should be, they should sit in the city council, if they knew who he was, to say, oh, by the way, boom, let's do this. And
Okay.
who knows? But I mean, Marty, it's changes, because everybody has somebody they want to promote and stuff like that, and I can see that. But I have lived, all of my life, except it's when I lived in South Carolina here, and and I appreciate what people do, because I remember that the people who were in charge of the recreation department got me started to do the things that I do in life, and. Like the Herb Morans, the Joe Paskowiczes.
Yeah.
And,
Well, Herb Moran got a nice run there back in 1960. Let's see, it would have been 1968
Yep.
when my younger brother won the national punt, pass, and kick championship. And wherever my brother traveled, he went to New York, competed at Yankee Stadium. Went to St. Louis and competed at Busch Stadium, the one they just recently tore down.
Yes.
And then he competed in the Orange Bowl in Miami.
Yep.
And Herb was on all those trips.
Of course, Herb was. And the thing he did was when he brought Mickey the Monkey to Bates Woods. That was his. I mean, you just see his eyes light up when he did. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. I mean, we could talk about these people in New London all day, because there's so many people who have had a major say in what's going on with them. I mean, you can go families like the Sad-Eyed the Vendetto family, okay, and all of the different people who come from those, okay? And not that the people now are not, doing whatever they do, but the tradition of these people is fabulous. And for you, and we never had a mayor, okay? We always had a whatever he was, a
City manager?
City manager. And but things ran well, and we did things, and the high school was always good, and we had, I remember Mr. Foy was our principal at the high school.
Mr. Foy.
It's his name.
Yeah.
He
I mean,
didn't
it
have
was
a
not
name.
Bill Foy, it was Mr. Foy.
He didn't have a first name, he was Mr. And because I knew the young Foy boy. Billy was a very good friend of mine, and Paul and Mike and the rest of the family. And all the girls, he must have had 100 kids, but whatever it was. But
Well, his brother, the captain,
Yes.
had girls.
yeah, yes, he did, because he was like, I think he might have been at one time the athletic director prior to or just after Otto Graham at the Coast Guard Academy.
Yeah.
And that's when things were, like you would go down to Ocean Beach, if on Thanksgiving Day, you would go to see New London play Fitch at Vets Field, because Fitch's field was not big enough, so every year they played there. Okay, then you'd eat your Thanksgiving stuff, and at night at Ocean Beach, where they have the restaurant, used to be a basketball court, and they had the New London Men's City League, where EB put a team in, Pfizer put a team in.
Yeah, the Oilers.
Yeah, Lincoln Oilers, Norwich State Hospital. I mean, you name from where, Coast Guard. I remember when Jack Foley, who was one of the greatest players ever at Holy Cross, probably the all-time leading scorer, did some time in the Coast Guard Reserves, and he would play in that league down there. And
They had a low ceiling. You had to compensate for that.
I remember Ricky Radiccioni, the father who was a basketball referee and stuff, his jump shot was so high that he would hit the ceiling, just scrape the ceiling, put it in. And then the other, his son, was a magnificent player for St. Bernard's.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, you just talk about these people and who they were and how it is. And it became a thing, it's like, how can we help you? What can we make things better? Let's not argue about, oh, this is that, or we need crossing guards, or we don't need, I mean, let's just get the things done. And, and what is another sad thing is the New London Day as kind of like taking a minor step back.
Minor step? I'd say it's a major step back.
Well, if they didn't have Mike Tomorrow write all those columns. And now Mike Tomorrow is writing columns like on other sports, non-sports related. And I remember my mother, she used to love him because he did it long years ago before on Sundays. He says, and I'd say, Mike, don't tell me about him. She says, he writes these columns on Sunday, that he's the best. And that's the thing. I mean, I don't know, maybe you get old, you think this way, okay, of how things used to be, and maybe it makes things better than they were. But it's a situation where, I can't remember, okay, not seeing Columbus's statue there. Okay.
Well, maybe that'll come back when Pastro is out of office.
You know what I mean? Because, I mean, if we wanted to get into a sterile situation about slavery, yes, he transported some slaves, yes, he did. But sometimes when the slave traders would go to the harbor towns, their own tribes would bring the people out. So it's not, it's a simple situation like that. And if you'll say, well, what the heck do you know? Well, I spent 5 years down in South Carolina, taught me a tad about slavery, okay, of how it was and how it would be. Not that it should have been, but how it was.
Yeah. Folks, you're watching City Focus. I'm Marty Olsen, your host, and I'm joined tonight by Mike McLaughlin. And we are live, and if you'd like to contribute to the program, we would love to hear from you. And the number is, well, just put up on the screen there, 860-445-7499. And we'd love to hear from you and share your thoughts on basically anything.
Yeah, I'd like to hear all the people who, even if they disagree with me, because I didn't win the election I ran for, so some people must disagree with me. So please call up. You know what I mean? But I mean, that's all right. Let's do it with you. Let's do these questions. Best basketball player ever in New London.
Well, before we do that, I just want to share something. I think this is maybe it's just to give people an idea what's going on here. I've started last week, and I did it this week too. But I put a little post up here on Facebook.
Okay.
Outlining tonight's program. So letting everybody know that Mike was going to be on. And I'll just read this to you. I've got the date, 1/14, City Focus, Marty Olsen. And my guest tonight is a local legend and favorite, Mike McLaughlin. And the program is available on Breezeline TV channels 24 and 25, Breezeline Stream TV channels 9001 and 9002, Comcast channels 12 and 14, Comcast Digital 1070 and 1090, Frontier channels 6041 and 6042. I'm going to make an edit there. I just got a wrong number. The program does air live, as we are right now, from 7 to 7:50.
So you can call us.
And give us a buzz. And the program also airs on delay on YouTube. And to reach that, you would go to YouTube and search for Marty Olsen, City Focus, SEC-TV. As noted, phone calls are welcome. I just gave you the number. In a new feature, and I think this is critical, there it is we have SETV is now streaming live. You go to the se-tv.org and choose from a live stream menu on the upper right, and you can get this stream anywhere on the planet. So there's no reason to say you can't find us.
Yes.
You can
And
find
if
us.
you moved out of New London or sitting in Florida, you can still see us.
So we're available now globally, and we expect that we'll get a better reach, get more of an audience, and please share that. And I'll be posting this on Facebook weekly with whomever I have coming on.
The situation is such, okay, and when I get a little bit disturbed, is when people no longer talk about New London anymore. New London was a viable place, okay? Let's take a look at New London, then we'll get into these athletes, okay?
Oh, well, I mean, did you see the book Bill Morse wrote? It was
Yeah.
available. I mean, Lost New London,
Yeah,
and the devastating effect of just the beginning of the Winthrop Cove urban renewal in the early
Oh.
'60s.
yes. But, you know,
I mean, I don't remember those streets. I was a very young boy.
Oh,
I was 8 years
let me
old
tell
in
you something.
'62. You've got me by a day or two.
yeah.
And I suspect that devastation, I mean, you lived through it.
You cannot believe it because, number one of the viable places that people played sports was Columbus Park, okay? Which is right now a parking lot for everything else, okay? There are restaurants there, the original Huey's and places like that people would go to all the time. The Italian group of people lived in that area. As you see, that red-topped building is still down Italian Dramatic Club and all the other things along those lines, which was a very viable place. Okay, then they had the statue, okay, at the center thing. Then the Irish people lived like on Montauk Avenue and around there, you know what I mean? So there was all that.
Well, the Italians were in Shaw Street and in the fort.
Yeah, because the Italians mostly went to St. Mary's Church, and the Irish went to St. Joseph's. Yeah, and you'd meet people there, and you see the people, and it was like St. Joseph's School used to be a fabulous place. If you look at the people who went there and what they've done, Buckley was a great place. I mean, I remember when I went there before you went there, unfortunately, we only got to go till 1 o'clock each day because the school was condemned, and so they had to rebuild and build it. But I mean, still, the teachers, the people who taught us of what we would do there, got us so ready to do it. And then when we went to the high school, which is where the junior high school is now, okay, in the year I went to high school, that was there, and in the Martin Center, St. Bernard's opened that year when I was a freshman. And then right in the middle of all of that was Jennings School. So I mean, there was educational situations like you wouldn't believe all going on, and people going on to schools, and everybody was going to Yale or Holy Cross, or, you know what I mean? And Judge Santinello, rest his soul, if you were an athlete, or he was the uncle of the O'Neills, you were at Holy Cross. I mean, you know, because he loved to go to the different games. And this is how it used to be. Okay, it wasn't, well, this group of people or so forth, and, you know, and I'm mad because they did this and so forth, or all the other things like that. And then most of the people of Jewish background were down by the beach. And one of the reasons for that was when we used to have a prep school in New London called Ballard Academy. They ripped that down, and that's where Ballard Drive is. And those houses built there were built by EB and Pfizer for doctors, chemists, engineers,
Well,
and stuff
Admiral
like
Drive was high rent district. I mean,
Yeah, but I mean, those houses-
Admiral Ballard. And,
that. Yeah, those houses were built for the people to become, you know, to do that. And I remember once when the Bethel Synagogue, which is now Learn, where my grandson goes, and they got a ton of Jewish people from Russia to come over here to be able to work. And it was kind of an interesting story because there was a big question, and some of the employers and stuff on the people had education in Russia of what it transferred to here and whether you could or not and so forth. But I remember there was a young girl playing for UConn at the same time who was from Russia, and they took her credits just like, because she, and it became a unique situation in Lawrence Memorial Hospital and all of the different groups of people.
Was it Svetlana?
Yeah, Svetlana Bemosa.
And Brosimova or something?
Yeah, Brosimova. I mean, and you had, I mean, so you had Irish people, you had Italian people, you had people of the Jewish religion, Catholic religions, Protestant religions. St. Mary's was a huge school. When they opened all those housings up by the park, Riverside Park, And that was when people who had gotten jobs, it became supervisors of DB, but then they decided to put the other bridge over their properties, of course. But I mean, in New London was like Corkins Park, all kinds of things. Everything was going on because Bethel Synagogue was a very, very big time thing too. And, when they built Toby May, it became a big thing. Mitchell College was only a 2-year school. But, and then we had Connecticut College, we had the Coast College. But just think, when you talk about New London, even right now, how many towns of 25,000 people have 3 colleges? One of them being a academic institution, like the Coast Guard Academy.
Oh, military academy.
Yeah, military, Mitchell, things like that. How many have EB, and right across the river, EB again, and Pfizer's? How many have a submarine base up the river like 10 miles away? And this is a situation, look at what they have here. And the situation is, it becomes, how many people, whether you like it or not, how many people have a beach right on their situation, Ocean Beach? And that's the whole situation of how things are. And
how many colleges have a beach like Mitchell College has its own beach?
Yeah, I mean, it's a situation where, and what happens is many people from out of town come here. Like many Mitchell students, probably their parents live in Long Island and listened to Lee Elsey, and they found out about Mitchell College and sent them here. But this is the situation you have. There are so many benefits to this. There should not be the chaos that they have in the school system, or how good they're doing or not doing a good, you know what I mean? And that's the point. And it's not the teachers, it's not the, and that's the whole situation like that. We need to take a look at what we have, and we need to personify us as what it was. Because we used to be, anybody knew of New London. I mean, if people drive, even still today, 60, 80, 90 miles to go to Ocean Beach on the weekend, okay, there must be some situation that we have there. And I mean, and it was an unbelievable place. And our sports teams were fabulous. Okay, if you think of the guys like the Johnny Ellises and all the other guys that played in the major leagues from there, and it's not, you think of the Dave Connors who went to Purdue, the Billy Foy who did the different things, the Billy Butchka, and all of the other different things like that. Palmer Sibilia, who played in the Polo Grounds and the college also.
He played for Purdue. I mean,
played for
Big
Purdue.
Ten.
Yeah, and that's when the NFL only had like 10 teams. So and there were so many unbelievable players. You had a Mr. Larry Drew. You had all of the other different people, and not that it's not as it could be. I think that, we have got a system where we bring a lot of people in. Okay.
Well, let's go to the phones here. Good evening, you're on the air.
Hey, Marty, how you doing?
I'm doing well, how are you?
Good. Got a question for you, or basically how you or Michael feel about as what they want to do, or what's the thought process on this whole thing they want to do with Ocean Beach, with a hotel and all that type of stuff.
What do you want to do? You say first.
What do I do? Leave it alone.
See, boy, you're a genius.
If you look at anything this city has touched, or deals that they've cut, leave Ocean. I mean, they're so concerned about money that Ocean Beach lost over a 10-year period, as opposed to what the community center is going to lose in 1 year.
Yeah, but can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I look at all over New London, and I see people who are brilliant and people who could do all kinds of things. Why do we have to hire outside companies to run the 2 places you just mentioned? Is there no one in the town who could do it? And this is not any reference to the people who are working for those places. It's just that why do we have to go out of town to hire? I mean,
it's not so much for even running things. We do that with our own city employment, with the exception of the fire department.
Yes.
The fire department's about the only department I know that promotes from within.
which is
When it's time to get a police chief, we go out of town. When it's time to get a director of public works, we go out of town.
And you know something? And I'm glad you called. In the charter of 1636, and Marty made this point when he ran for mayor, not as being appointed mayor, but running, you have to be a city resident to be the head of a department.
Well, it's in the charter.
It's in the charter.
And the mayor.
Whether it's in the
ignores
charter or
it.
not, and I know I'm probably dating myself for how cities or communities run probably decades ago, people were proud to work and serve in their community. You didn't have to make that requirement, because usually people that were fire department, police, emergencies, you name it, they lived in the town that they worked in.
Yes, and you knew them. You grew up with them. You knew their sisters, or you knew their mothers or their grandparents, and you know what I mean? And it was, let me ask you one question.
Sure.
Okay, because you're very knowledgeable about New London. It's good to find someone who could. If you could do one thing to make New London what it used to be or better than it is, what would you do?
Tough question, seeing as I wasn't. They need to take the residents. How would I put it? The residents need to come first. We seem to throw out the red carpet, whether it's the old Sail Fest, whether a cruise ship comes. We don't do anything for the people that live and pay the taxes here.
That's true. And you know something? And you say that, and it's like what I would like to see.
I mean, they worry about, New London's like this. Well, what is the incentive for me as a resident to go downtown? There's nothing there for us to do.
Well, you and your wife could go bar hopping.
You get more incentive to out-of-town developers selling them buildings for $1 that they walk away from, that they can't develop. You now have Garfield Mills that's on to its second developer. The project up at Martin Center is going on almost a decade now.
Mm-hmm. And then you have,
I mean, and that one was flipped after they sold it to the first guy for $1.
The beach losing revenue. For 20 years, you lost tax revenue with the debacle down at Fort Trumbull.
Sure. I mean, but see, you couldn't get it. You're right.
Because with developers and these 20-year abatements, who picks up the burden on all that? The taxpayer.
We are.
Well, let me ask you a question, because it's obviously you're a past taxpayer. Why do the New London people, who are very intelligent, who worked hard, have tax money, have things like, sit by and let all these things happen? Like, Marty gave me a ride over here tonight because I'm probably the world's worst driver, okay, at night. And when I went by and saw those things lit up again by the train station, you know what I mean? I'm thinking, is this something we need? Okay, and this is the whole situation.
If you don't mind me, let me ask you a question. What are you talking about lit up by the train station?
Those, the thing they just, the judge just said that after Trump said they couldn't build them anymore, the
wind.
The windmills.
Project?
Yeah.
No, that was, well, who knows what let me ask this. You probably went that way, right? I haven't been downtown in a while.
Okay.
As you enter the ferry, are the new traffic lights working yet?
I don't know, because
an $800,000 project that they never, as far as I know to this point, could never go forward with, even though they're all installed and they put new sidewalks down there, but they never got Amtrak sign-off.
But they got the orange things and the purple things down there. Good.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing.
Crayons.
Do you think the Coast Guard Academy Museum will ever be built?
I think the pedestrian bridge will become a reality before the museum would be finished. Okay. Unfortunately, the residents of this town on 3 separate occasions told City Council, we do not want that bridge.
Okay. And it's thing, and see, but it's so good that you're on, because you realize that you express the views of yourself and everybody else in this town who says nothing. But you are expressing your views.
Dropped halfway, Mike. I think it was his first term. We're in his 3rd term now as mayor. Bank Street was made a 1-lane street, one way, with part 2 of that project being for Eugene O'Neill to be a two-way street from the police station
Yep.
to Tilly Street. What happened to part 2?
These things happen. But we've only had two mayors.
So quickly because of worrying about we were going to become another Boston or something that we had to take down Columbus statue.
I will back you 100% on that, and historically and whatever it is, okay, because it's a situation where
Caving into the far left, the woke culture of New London.
I'll tell you what, I won't ask you your name because it's unfair, but please, sometime when I'm on again, call us before, because we want to have you on. Number 2,
Marty knows who I am.
yeah, we want you to run.
And I do.
We want you to run. We want you to run for city council. We want you to run for
This is a one-party town. I would not run on the ticket that's holding control. And unfortunately, unlike New Britain, we have state that will not allow us to have minority representation because
Yes.
we have at-large councilors.
Yes.
We should have at least 2 Republicans or a Republican or a Green, but there shouldn't be 7 Democrats serving on our council.
It all sounds good to me, and it's just no reflection on anybody who's there. But I'm saying we need to hear from the whole side.
But I
of
mean,
these things.
it's sorry that you have a town of 26,000 people.
Yep.
About 2/3 of that are registered to vote, and maybe not even 20% of that votes every time.
Yeah, what do you think? The biggest vote we had in the past probably 4 years was they were going to cut the police, they were going to do something, and then when they had an August vote, and we had more people vote in that election, not that election, but on that issue than anything else. But
you notice they held a special election for that.
Yeah, because the people...
Because they know that people don't come out for special event elections, but if they put it on the ballot like they would have had to put a budget proposal or something else, or when they decided on the magnet schools, which they never lived by what they told us they were going to do, it's just now that Harbor School's being closed after 10 years.
Yes, and it is sad, because the recreation department...
The city manager, but do you realize we're on going into our 15th year of a city, as a mayor?
Yeah.
And New London's been worse for the last 16 years than it's been when we had a city manager.
Yeah, I mean, that was
The reason being is because the city manager had to answer to the council.
Yes.
Yeah, well, the mayor answers to nobody.
Well, no, he picks the council. He can do it either way. But no,
No, the
council-
mayor answers. The example of our current one, he took down the statue on a Sunday, and then he goes to the next meeting to have a hearing to get permission to do it.
you know,
Well, that's like I say. I mean, we're running a little fiefdom here. I mean, it's not.
But I'll let you guys get back to you.
but we want to
other
thank...
calls or
No, but what we want to say to you is very simply, is thank you for bringing up the issues.
I could talk. There's more, but that's enough for now.
No, but I'm saying thank you for bringing the issues up.
You're welcome.
Because what happens is, there may be both sides to the issues, but we have to spend more time discussing the issues rather than just not looking at both sides. And when you brought that point up and you talk about the different things, it was very knowledgeable, and it was a very good way that you presented
hopefully, Marty will have you back on again. We're about, January? We're about a month and a half away before they start outlaying the budget. I understand they're going to have a hearing for high tide that wants to put make the State Street old A&T building a 5-story apartment complex.
Yeah.
Which is another joke, because past experience has taught me that by the time they get around to having a public hearing, they've already made up their minds what they're going to do. They're just doing the public hearing to more or less.
Didn't they have
It's to meet the law.
Didn't they have a public hearing last night on one, whether they were going to put apartments in Harbor School, or they were going to put...
I don't know if that was on, but I know they were having a public hearing, because High Tide now, that's buying up half of New London, wants to put additional stories on a building that's probably been there for a while, and we're spending $500,000 now to keep another one, an old church, from not falling, where it probably would have cost us half, just $250K, to take the church down.
But who knows?
And we'll never recover that. That's a scam artist, that guy that owns that.
Well, we'll never recover it. You and me, Michael or any of us had bought a house with a lien on it or a property with a lien, we wouldn't have been given the time frame to pay the city back that the buyer was for the church that crumbled. That money, if he could afford to buy that property to make apartments on it after it crumbled, he should have been made to, as any other person would, to make up that lien before he took possession of the property, instead of giving time to pay it back.
And you know what show you would be great to go on? The Lee Elsey show, because he's got even a bigger audience than Marty does, and he would be listening to you because it's interesting. This has been one of the more interesting telephone calls I've listened to in the 20 years I've been on with Marty, and I thank you for calling, because this is now when you have to discuss these things. It isn't when the summertime when they've already been done. It's now. It's the situation is, this is when you need to look at what the thing is. Are we better than we were? Some people will tell you, yes, I mean New London. Some people will tell you no. Okay, some people will tell you everything. But what we need to know is, why are things happening to this event?
I can keep going. Return on investment. Like Marty, like myself, like you, Mike, we're all probably taxpayers.
Yes.
10 years ago, what you were getting for services for your tax dollar based on what you're getting today. Yeah. There's no bulk pickup anymore. They've cut back the number of weekends that they'll pick up yard waste. You're lucky if you see a street sweeper, which, by the way, we now outsource, because we've given that function to the water department because of the new storm runoff.
Yeah, I can't argue, but there are still some of the people that work in New London are fantastically good people, and some of them really believe in New London. Unfortunately, they don't have the power, I'm going to say this, hopefully, yet. Because I want Marty to run for mayor.
I think I'd like to see him, but I don't think Marty has an interest to get back in politics.
Oh, he does.
I understand.
Like I always tell him, see, I'm the only Democrat who ever ran and lost. Okay, so.
Not quite
true. What did you do to piss off the party?
I don't know. I was me. You know what I mean? I ran for the about 10 years ago, maybe
School
a little.
Board.
Yeah.
Well, I know what the problem is. If you don't toe party line, all of a sudden they ostracize you.
And I lost by 10 votes. I lost by 10 votes for the Board of Education, because I just wanted to do something to help the school system.
There's another thing. 50% of our budget goes to 5,000 residents.
Yep.
Yet seniors in this town barely get $100,000, and we have the same number of people that are in the school system, if not more.
Well, we're gonna, something. If we can get you and we can get Marty and we can get me to just not accept it and say this is what we want to do, because I still believe in this town that if we can get the people to do something, that they will, and it will benefit everybody. And it's just a situation where, like I said, you brought out the best point ever. New London is a city of 26,000 people, maybe more, maybe less. They have 3 colleges, okay? They have EB across the river. They have EB on their property. They have Pfizer across the river. They have the submarine base up the what?
You have EB in New London now.
Yeah.
My thought on that is once they get Waterford Mall, Crystal Mall up and running.
Oh, you're going to
Pfizer, they will pull out of New London as well.
Yeah. But I have a question, and you can probably think about this. If EB has 2 places directly across the river from each other, and they build the most prestigious submarines in the world, why don't they just have a small ferry, cart the people back and forth, rather than have them go to EB parking lot, go over the bridge, go over the... You think that would be a simple thing to do?
At one time, I thought they did, or were proposing it. I know they bus their people over from Groton.
Yeah, but why? Well, you could just... I think they could build something if they build a submarines that could do it.
Oh, yeah. But like I said, New London will be hindsight once Crystal Mall is up and running as a facility for them.
Oh, yeah. Why would it look at the great price they got it for? The only people who got a better price for an area that big, okay, was Pfizer.
Well, they paid a certain amount when they bought the Pfizer property,
Yeah.
but they went to the city and basically were able to talk down their assessment to about 1/6 of what it should be.
Hey,
Well,
but you know, who knows? But we need people like you. We have to make New London what it was, or even if that stinks, what it could be, and it can be much more than it is.
All right,
sounds
guys.
good. John, thank you for calling. You've been really invigorating tonight, and I really appreciate you taking the time.
I wish you guys, I know you now saw the channels on early, but I don't know how many people still have the old Breezeline that have 24 and 25, Marty. And I don't know how many people are aware now that this program has moved to Groton, that it's even available on their stream channels 9002.
Well, it's why I'm putting it up on Facebook, John, so that, I've probably got a wider circulation with my own posts there than
I would have called in last week when you were on with Tony, but I wasn't sure if you were live or not because nothing was put up on the screen with the number or the date.
I got Tony scheduled again for March 4th.
Okay.
That's,
All right, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Night.
That was a good call.
Oh, it was an excellent call, and I've heard him speak in many, many different places, and he is a very, very. He makes me hungry sometimes when he speaks. But he's, and I give him credit. He ran. He did. You know what I mean? He tries to help out, and you know what I mean.
Well, our call is that he's a very sharp guy. I mean, he lives in town and he's concerned about our town, and he's not shy about sharing his thoughts.
Here's what I think part of the problem we have in New London right now, that any time you say, could we change this or bring this back, they think we're criticizing the whole process, where there's some minor adjustments, there's some major adjustments that could be made, and I think if we could ever get to people started, we could make this what it used to be. Because, Ocean Beach hasn't lost money its whole entire life, okay? And, it's not the people who are working there, it may be the company, but it's not the people who run it who are there, okay? Because, you would know Jeff Mullins and stuff like that, and he tries his stuff with his rides and everybody else, and Dave Shagru does a very good job at what he does. But somehow, how can you have a 26,000 town with two major things that lose money?
Well, it's New London.
Yeah. And have EB on your property. I think I would venture a guess, and I could be wrong. I think Groton benefits for having EB there.
In New London.
No, Groton benefits having EB in Groton.
Oh, absolutely. And Pfizer.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It seems like when we say these things, we're criticizing people. No, but what we have to do is we have to take all issues. Sometimes the ideas of let's do this and let's bring in these other people and do, yeah, okay, fine. But let's use some of the people that we have here for the skills and talents they have. One of the people, and I'll say it over and over and over and over again, that we used from this town who had a skill and a talent was Tommy Major. Okay? When you were on the boards, okay, BP Education, I think you were that, in the city council, we used you in the things, and we took, what do you know about New London? What can we take what's good there? And that's the same thing. And this is what we need to do. We can't have somebody say, well, I don't really know that much about New London, but I think if we did this, no. Let's have him talk to someone and say, would this be a workable situation? We did it. Okay, because you figure you're going to put apartments in the old day.
Well, let's go back to the phones here. Good evening, you're on the air.
Hello?
Hello, you're on the air.
Do you run Breezeline Waterford office?
Do we run Breezeline what now?
Breezeline's Waterford office is on 61 Myrock Avenue. I do business with them.
That studio is closed. It's been the owners have repurposed the building, and we're currently operating out of Groton.
No. I just put it on. I'm
So,
Kathy
but we're
Jensen.
still broadcasting in Waterford, New London, East Lyme.
Thank you for calling.
But it's like Mike Rock Avenue, they don't use the studio anymore?
No, not anymore.
Oh, so that was the person supposed to go in there to pay their bill, that's all?
Yeah.
I have problems with my television, and I do business with
Well,
Breezeline,
yep.
and they're charging me money for channels I'm not even getting anymore.
Okay. Well, listen, we've exhausted our time for tonight. I've got the hook from the guy in the control room. We got to go, but thank you for calling tonight.
Installation operators.
Okay. Night
Who
night.
won the elections?
It'll be in November.
Yeah, but who won? Who are the councilors?
Well, at the moment, they're all Democrats.
Oh, Leona Dice never won, did she?
I don't.
I know her.
Yeah.
I'm Kathy Jensen.
Okay.
I know Leona Dice.
Yeah, she didn't win.
But you know, they have these damn cheap remotes, and that's one of the reasons why I can't do anything right now, because I'm over the gold button in it, the circle one. And
Okay.
the thing doesn't work right most of the time.
All right. Listen, I have to cut you off. Thanks for calling. We'll
Yeah,
see you.
but I have to talk to installation operators.
Yeah, call next
Too bad
week.
they don't use that studio anymore. Bye.
Night night. How about that? 2 calls.
Yeah, so that's because you put the stuff up. And you
Mike,
did
it's
what
been
you
a
did.
ball. Thank you.
It has. And see, I think what made it is we set up a situation and we were either hit a nerve or the person who called first knew we were dying. and helped us.
Folks, you've been watching City Focus. I will not be here next week. We'll be running a rerun. I'm not sure what. And I do have Travis Bousselet coming in at the end of the month.
Oh, you let me tell you something. Travis Upsale played with us at Avery Point. He's the athletic director. He used to be Mitchell. Now he's at Avery Point. He's going to coach baseball again this year.
That's what he was telling me.
Okay.
So we'll have a great
Let me
program
tell you
with
something.
Travis.
You will have a program, and Travis Bousselet, he had his uncle played for the Mets, Lenny Langlaw, and something hurt his arm. He became the bodyguard of Whaling Jennings. Ask him about that.
We will. Folks, thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Good night.